So I'm going to pass it on to Kemmy, and enjoy your evening.
So a man walks into a doctor's office with a banana up his nose and says, Doc, can you help me out? What's wrong with me? The doctor takes a look at him, banana in the nose. Yeah. Hey, Jeff, I've seen this before. He says, apparently I need a microphone. So a man walks into a doctor's office with a banana up his nose and says, Doc, can you tell me what's wrong with me? The doctor takes a look at him, sizes him up. Yep. I think I know the problem, says the doctor. You're not eating right.
Thank you so much, Jeff, for that joke. It did help.
Dad joke, I think.
Welcome, everyone, to Agile TO. I know it's not going to work. Yep, it's working. Just let me know. I've got a very loud voice, so I'm trying to tone it down. But at the same time, I'm trying to tone it down. You might not hear me properly. My name is Kemmy Raji, and I'm here to introduce or to share with you Liberating Structures, some of the microstructures. Fun fact, when I moved back to Toronto, or when I came to Ontario, Agile TO was my very first meetup. I remember Julian, she's somewhere in the room. She sent an invite for volunteers, and I was like, yay. And as I was watching her on the stage, I said to myself, one day, or someday, I'm going to be here presenting. So here I am. A little bit about me. I'm not the type that knows how to kind of like introduce myself. So do I need to read this out, or do I need to share it? I'm not sure. Anyway, so I'm a mother of three boys ranging from 18 to 2.5. I have been in 3 continents. North America is my 3rd one. I love to create space for people to learn. So you will find me in meetups, you'll find me in community of practices, conferences, events that it's put together for people to share knowledge. One of the few people I respect a lot are people that share their knowledge with others. I follow them, and I kind of like adore what they do. So I try to create that platform. Has anyone in the room used Liberating Structures? Heard about it? Okay. Interested to learn about it? Oh, great. Or else you wouldn't be here, would you? So liberating structures, there are 32 of them. At least they're confirmed 32 microstructures at the moment, or 33, sorry. There are other ones in production, which people are still trying out. So if there is anything you use to facilitate meeting, to facilitate conversation, group, conference, and you feel is working for you, give it a name and submit it to the guys that created this. And they will try it out, see if it works or not. It will go through a lot of trials before you can join this state, just so you know. So the people that I introduced, the two guys, Keith and Henri, I think that's how to pronounce it, it's French. Any French person, sorry, any French in the room? Okay. Henri, okay, that's it, Henri. So they are the creators of these liberating structures. I found them very useful. And as you get to understand them, you probably think, I've used this in the past, but that's not the name it's called. Yes, you're right. They've just put together, tweaked some other things, and made it their own in order for people to be able to use it and unleash conversation. So here's what they say about it. You can use it. You can make it your own. You can string it. You can riff it, but do not sell it in order for you to have any monetary gain on it. So there is no certification on this. So there are training, there are workshops. You pay to attend workshops, but no one should be offering you certification, right, on it. Most of the photographs I've used here are created by Keith and Henri, or some other people, and I've acknowledged those ones. There are 5 things about liberating structures in order for you to get them right. And the first thing is the invitation. The question you're posing to people has to be right in order for you to get the right outcome out of them. So it's not about you, it's about the people you are trying to get solution from. So a lot of the times, the people that have been using liberating structures will say, the facilitator does not own liberating structures. Rather, is the audience or the participants that should know how to use it. The arrangement of the space. I know, John, we were having some back and forth conversation about how should the setting be? Should it be conference? Should it be stadium? Should it be group? The space really matters, because in some cases, if you have people sitting in a conference setting, no one might speak. But if you have them with no tables and just sitting face to face and leaving them to think, creating a thinking environment, you'll be amazed what come out of people in terms of conversation. So the arrangement of the space is important. Then the sequence and the allocation of time. How many of you have been in workshop or meetings whereby the facilitator says, oh, you have 10 minutes to do something, and in 2 minutes you're done, and you're twiddling your thumb and say, okay, what's next? Or maybe they give you such a short time that you're thinking, I don't have enough time for this. So the sequence and the timing is very crucial. And then the configuration of the group. It's very important as well. Is it going to be a small group in threes, in trios? Is it going to be duo? Is it going to be a group of people? What are you trying to accomplish? Or what do you want the participant to accomplish? So all these things you need to factor in when you are thinking about the microstructures you want to use. And then the distribution of the participant. You don't want 2 people here and another group of 5 here, right? The consistency has to be done. So that's just what liberating structure says you should put into place when you want to accomplish success. Anyone, does this resonate with anyone? The picture is not very great, but there's this guy there. Where's my ear? Here, he's trying to talk to this bunch of people. There is no way they're going to get anything out of that meeting. 1, it's crowded. 2, he's just telling them what to do. And Participation, what you think would happen? Participation is going to be very minimal, right? So you don't want that. But at the same time, you want to think of balancing. Remember I talked about balancing the group, the space, the question. If you over control, just like, okay, what happened there? So if you over control the environment, if you over control the collaboration, then people will start doing something else, right? If it's a boardroom thing, setting as well, you'll find out that some people hijack the conversation more than the others. I'm sure we've all been in meetings whereby some people are talking and the other person is on the phone or on their laptop. And you're thinking, you're going to participate, aren't you? And they can't be bothered to join in because some people are just busy talking about something else. Or they're napping, right? And then if it's too under control, what will happen is that, like you see here, people are just not going to know what to do. When you give people responsibility, they feel part of a team. But when you don't ask people or you don't create an invitation for people, what will happen to them? They just get to the meeting and they think, this is a waste of my time. Why am I here? I didn't contribute to it, nor did I gain from it. And that's why Liberating Structure is really, really great, because whether you are an introvert like me or you are an extrovert, we all get to sit at the table to talk. So which is what I'm going to ask you to do next. You're going to find someone, not the person next to you. A little bit of networking we're going to do. I know you've done that, but you need to share what is the challenge that you bring to this gathering. What brought you here? What are you hoping to solve by using Liberating Structures, right? And what do you hope to get? And what are you hoping to give to this group? So find a partner, 2 minutes, have a conversation. I'm going to use, let you know. After the round of 2 minutes, you find another person, and then you find another person, right? Okay, so find someone. Okay. Don't worry. No, please.
Okay, thank you for letting me know. I ranked the
Little pockets of strengths with their agile transformation. Mainly RBC was the manager, the others not so much there.
Thanks for letting me know the names. What's the problem with my all the other bank is still doing this? So I got hired as a
Okay. 2 minutes. Find another partner.
So I'm here for 3 reasons. One is
So that means.
sit in my hotel room, or I could come and see my friends. That's reason number one. So reason number two is
Okay, thanks. I'm gonna need this after.
I'll start handing them out when you.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
I'm just thinking like a few per row, and then are they going to group in the row?
They're gonna group. Maybe when they group, we can hand it out. I don't think this is working. It's not working. Oh. Oh. Okay. All right. All right, find another partner.
Can I do with you?
Oh.
Raise your own and stop talking.
Yes, that's right. Thanks, Tom. There are two rules, actually, to rate, as Dave Sharrock would say. One, you raise your hand, and you stop talking. And two, if you're not talking, you still raise your hand. If you do, you're cheating, right? Yeah, so. Please, sit down. I would like to get some feedback from you, what you thought of that. What was it like for you? Energizing. What else? Fun. All right, what else? Informative. So where do you see yourself using this? Thanks, Chris. Yes. What are you taking back to your workplace? Actually, you can use it with distributed teams. Okay, great. Yeah, so impromptu networking is fantastic when you're in the room full of people, they don't know one another. And like I said, I'm an introvert. The moment I get into a room, I just want to curl up into one corner and not talk. But when you say impromptu networking, I'm like, okay, I've got to talk, so I will. And that's a great place to use it. Or you can even use it to design your team agreements. Have people chat about it, what they bring into the meeting, or what they hope to get out of this meeting, right? And they can chat that down, and it will become a meeting agreement. So we're going to try a little experiment with this next one. I didn't share with you how many we're going to, liberating structures, microstructures we're going to be doing, because I'm kind of like in the middle of 3 to 4, depending on the time. Just so you know, liberating structures, you can string it, so that means you can merge 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 together. But what we're not doing tonight is that we're going to do things in just as they are. So the next one we are going to do ties a little bit to this. Or you might not use those problems you've come up with. So what I said we're going to do this an experiment is that I haven't done this in a large group. And liberating structures, it's all about the experiment. It allows you to experiment. If it doesn't work, the next time you tweak it. If it doesn't work, you tweak it, and you kind of like add as you go along. That's the beauty of it. So then the next one we're going to try is, if I can get my thing to work. Okay, that's not working, is it? Any technical person in the room? You just love it, don't you? When it's supposed to work and it doesn't. No. Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm trying. Oh, there you go. As soon as I turn up, you start working. Yeah. So what we're going to do is user experience fishbowl. As you know, fishbowl, it's in a bowl, right? But what makes this different is, okay, I'm trying to think how we're going to group this. So we're going to do one group here, one group here, and one group here. I think it works better. Okay. So what I need you to do is to form a group. You're probably going to move your chairs around, right? And we would have some people in the middle who are experts, and some people who are going to be asking the questions, right? It will all make sense to you in a minute. If you all come together, again, I'm trying to think how best can we use this? And it does work for a large group. I'm just thinking of the setting, which I haven't kind of like plan in my head before now. But we can do it. So why don't we form a circle for each group I've just mentioned? So this group form a circle, this group form a circle, in your, sitting on your chairs, not lifting up your chairs, but you're going to sit on your chairs, but you're going to sit down and form a circle. And this group as well, sit down, form a circle, please. Yeah, form a circle while on a sit. You know what I mean. Form a group. A bigger circle. You probably have to move some chairs away. All right, so what you're going to do next is that some sticky notes are going to be passed around. We're going to pass some sticky notes around, and people are going to write down questions they're trying to solve. So these could be, most importantly, make it a professional question. Right? Something that work, you need someone to help you serve. Right? It doesn't matter if you don't have any questions that needs to be solved. We just want to collate some questions so that we can get them answered. We have 2 minutes to do that. After you've gotten your sticky notes.
Oh, pens.
Oh, look at your whole pocket.
Pens. Pens. That's not an impediment. Thank you. All right, you guys are going to have to share pens. All right, here we go. Thank you. Oh, yeah, lots of stickies. You can pass them around. There's some pens. Who needs pens? Pens. You don't need that many pens. How many things are you going to write?
Or you could just be manage and group questions together.
I have more pens. Oh, I have
You
a
want to write? Okay.
No, I have a whole pocket full of pens.
Thank you so much.
So you got sticky notes, right? All right, so write any problem you have on the sticky notes. A professional question. Any problem at work you're trying to solve, write it down. Just one. We only need one. We can't solve everyone's problem tonight. Okay, do we have some questions written out? All right, great. So what I'm going to ask you within your groups is to self-select some people who wants to sit in the middle of each of your group. Who wants to sit in the middle? Maybe 4 to 5 people in the middle. You'll be the one in the fishbowl, Chris. Okay. Yes. So 4 to 5 people in the middle. You can move if you feel uncomfortable with the questions. 4 to 5 people in the middle. All right. Do we have people in the middle here? It will be nice if you're sitting in a circle as well. It will be nice if you're sitting facing each other. Yes, it's an inner circle. That's why it's called a fishbowl. All right. So can I ask you, for those in the middle, if you have any questions you've written out, can you pass it on to someone or some people in your group? Yes, the people in the inner circle, give your question to someone in your group. No, because you're going to be answering questions, so you pass it on to them. Yeah. No, don't pass it into the middle yet. Don't pass it into the middle yet. If you have questions, give it on to someone else outside of your circle. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Yes, if you have question in the middle, if you are in the middle and you're holding any question, give it on to the people outside your circle.
Someone grab it.
All right? Okay. All right. So this is what's going to happen next. The people of the outer circle, you have to decide which question is burning that you want to ask people in the middle. Does that make sense? All right? The people in the outside circle, you got to come together and decide the question you want to ask people sitting in the middle. Let's just start with one for now. It doesn't matter. It's just like, think of it as a lean coffee. You've kind of like come up with so many questions, so many topics or problems, and now you are talking about it, and in the order of which you want it answered, you're giving it to the people in the middle. Right? Don't worry. So the people in the inner circle, don't worry for now. I'm talking to the people at the outer circle.
Piece of shit. You can't plug anything into this. I have an adapter. Is this one of these port-free things? No.
Of course you can.
It's got four USB-Cs. Four good ports like that, and one for a headphone socket, which I don't even have. I don't have any fucking headphones anymore because this thing doesn't have a fucking headphone socket. Oh, Steve, come back, man. Sure, we should reanimate the guy or something. Dig him up.
Came with an adapterator between USB-C and headphones.
No, not USB-C. Lightning.
No, this is.
That's USB.
You don't have to vote. Just decide which ones you want to, the questions you want to ask. And if you want to vote, that's fine.
But you can't charge or anything. Everything, whang it down in these ports. Try to get the wireless charger, because this is the worst thing.
No,
this
not yet.
failed.
Working on it. There's some things coming, but nothing yet. Nothing.
What happened? Everybody moved. Did I miss something?
Yeah, there was an instruction about deciding which question.
How much wood would a woodchuck chuck? The woodchuck
No, you're not.
As much wood as a woodchuck
could.
if it could.
If a woodchuck could? If a woodchuck could chuck wood.
Yeah, if a woodchuck.
So we got 2 minutes to decide on that. 2 minutes.
Peter Piper. Peter Piper.
So how are you doing?
Pick a pepper.
Still going okay?
So far, I'm fine. Congratulations.
All right, by now you should have at least 3 questions you want to ask the people in the fishbowl. 3 questions. Let's keep it simple.
I don't think I ever kept that a secret. I mean,
Do you have 3 questions at the very least?
it's not actually one.
Do you have 3 questions? Good. Can we all go back to our circles, please? Okay, 3 questions. Do you have a representative? Someone that's holding the questions. All right, great. So you're going to present the question to the inner group, 1 question at a time. And for the inner group, whoever can answer the questions, answer it. Yes, but you're talking as if the group isn't there. So you're talking within yourselves. All right? If anybody feels that they cannot answer the question, they don't have to. That's the inner circle. And if anyone feels that they want to come out of the fishbowl, that's fine too. Someone else that knows how to answer, that knows the answer to the question, then steps in. Right? Any questions? Right. So within the groups, yes. Yes, you're replacing someone. Yes. So someone feels that, no, I don't know the answer to that question, or I don't feel comfortable answering the question, or, you know, whatever reason they want to step out, it's fine. And someone that wants to answer that question steps in. All right? So let's do the first round, and then we debrief. Okay. So 5 minutes. They're listening, right? Yeah. Sorry. So the people in the circle are the experts on this topic, and the outer group are listening. So if you can speak up, or some people can come closer, that would help.
Sort of. Like, why? Keep telling you, there's no point. Because you're better than me. I like it. What's that? I don't know. Hi. Up to you. 7:30-ish is good. 7 or 9. But maybe after this exercise. Yeah. Whatever works. Unless we know that we're going to do like kind of progress about Jeff said he could if you want to. So Jeff said if you would like to have facilitators there, I can find a way to use it in this exercise, so that's fine. That's how we do it. But if you don't need to, that's perfectly fine with that. So the one exercise is like 10 minutes. You don't really need a facilitator. It's not really, well, 15 minutes, but it's not really worth it. So we have to do them all. This is really awesome. Started off. That's our first reward. You can drink it, but it tastes like shit. From what? What's that? No. Do you block it out every time? I think you block it out every time. Do hold back. This is me in reserve mode. Am I yelling? Have I stormed out? It's not that bad. Don't hold back. Look at that face. The Kelly has laughed. Jeff's looking for work, so if you see any need for like a big organizational coach or lots of plastic bottles. Do you hate the environment? Do they have plastic bottles? That's great. running out of beers one thing. What are the orders? I resolve. It's not much. I used to order way more. You should do it.
Just so you know, I hate to interrupt. If you want to ask another question, you can ask another question right now, and if people want to switch, that's fine. Right? Or if you want to carry on with that particular question you have, that's fine too. Just so you know, that time box has ended.
You feel the better ahead of time? What are you doing?
Just done a dry
You're
run.
supposed to do it on the night.
That was the dry run.
It's a bit short. Isn't it? Just, you know, by 2 hours ish. An hour and a half.
Do you want to do like a piece, a break, and then another piece?
Usually that's what they wanted, right?
And the breaks, like, kind of, just to let people go to the washroom and
Yep.
chat.
Perfect.
But it's up to you.
Yeah, no, that's going to work out perfect. That's exactly what we're planning.
Cheers. The cider's not too bad, actually. It grows on you.
It does. No, I quite like it.
It's not deadly poison.
Not anticipating.
You know, it's growth.
And you don't have to have an answer. You can step out. Yeah. a fantastic conversation going on. So right now, what I'm going to ask you to do is to have a group debrief. So now there is no more inner circle. It's one group now. Have a debrief around the questions. So, yes, because some people might still have some nudging questions, right? Yes. Or they have some contribution they wanted to say. We'll do that for 2 minutes. Okay, so some couple of questions I'm going to pose to you. What was the U.S. fish bowl like for you? What kind of experience did you gain from using it? What made it possible? Yep. we don't want Jeff running it to skelter like a headless chicken. So what made it? Yes.
Here's a mic.
I guess what made it possible was the physical structure of it itself. You know, there's a group, and then there's a group outside. So I think one of the points that was talked about was, you know, the group inside is discussing the problem, you know, solutioning for it. So the group outside actually has to listen, and I know we want to talk before we actually understand the problem. So the group outside actually gets the chance to understand the problem and then understand the different solutions being bounced back inside the circle.
Okay, any other thoughts?
I think you'd need some extra facilitation if there are any people with hearing challenges, or like if you need to read lips to hear or anything like that. It could be kind of isolating, and also if you're just if you're a low talker. So somebody could have the best ideas, but if they're in the middle of the circle and they're a low talker, then most of the fishbowl is not going to hear it.
Gentleman mentioned earlier about it kind of forces us to hold back, listen, be patient. But the result of that, you get to know that specific people or the group eventually will answer the point that may be nagging inside your head as a listener. And that inadvertently inspires or builds trust in that we're all on the same page. We want to do the same thing. We're working for the same goal. So I think that's another benefit or something that I observed.
Yeah. And another thing is that the people that go in the fishbowl, they're not told to go in the fishbowl. They voluntarily go in the fishbowl, right? If they have something to say, they go in. But yes,
So it's that structure, because it's only 4 people. So it does actually allow everyone in that group to be able to say something, as opposed to this huge group, maybe 1 or 2 dominant people will talk.
absolutely.
And then
yeah.
you can, if you wanted to, I guess, in a large group, just say, answer one question and then swap.
Yes,
So
there
then
could
you
be an
can actually
agreement.
bring
Yes.
people
Yeah.
more. And so if it's not
Yeah.
such a huge group, maybe it's 10, 12 people, and then you put 4, you can then swap, so then they all get a turn to be in just that 4 structure.
So where
Okay, so I think the idea of allowing people to join the inner circle makes it possible for people who have burning ideas in their mind to be able to contribute. And then also having that inner circle force people to really pay attention and observe. Because all of the concerns that you may have as you're listening, it's going around. So you don't tend to see that dominant voice just because you can't say your mind. So it's the conversation going on within there allows for different context, different approach to the same problem. And then, everybody gets to have some sort of 360 view of, what the problem is and what solutions are possible, from that conversation.
So where do you see yourself using this structure? Brainstorming for new ideas. Okay.
Yeah. I think
Retrospective.
retrospectives too.
Retrospective.
Yeah.
Jinx.
Solution, okay, yeah. Perhaps you want to escalate something to the management. You send some representatives, right? They'll go there to speak on your behalf, because you remember we had a discussion, the questions, and then they surfaced which one they wanted to pose to the people in the fishbowl, right, to the inner circle. Right. So.
Just to prioritize the questions we have or the problems to solve, because we don't have all the resources to solve all the problems.
That's right.
Just prioritize the top 5 which can be solved.
So when are you going to host your next fishbowl? All right, great. So the fishbowl is really great. You can use it in sprint review, retrospective, like it's been mentioned, sprint planning, anything and everything that you just need some group of people to answer those questions. Right. Where do you see this being misused?
All right. So we had some issue prioritizing, like there were many ideas, there was a lot of great ideas and challenges we wanted to solve, but at the end, we couldn't prioritize it well. So maybe not everybody will be heard if we use this in a bigger group with no way of knowing how to prioritize it in a good way.
That's right. So you remember I said something earlier that liberating structures, you could tie one thing to the other, and then it's called stringing, right? So something would have happened, or you would have used another thing to prioritize your stuff before you then get here. Right.
One of the problem probably is, again, the low talkers would tend to be choosing the outer circle, and the inner circle will be limited for few people who have strong voice and strong ideas, and those are the ideas which tend to get passed as solutions.
That could be right, but you might find out that the people in the middle might have answered the questions that are burning for those low talkers, right? So they don't have to get in there, because now you find you have 4 or 5 people having a discussion. I mean, it does happen to me. I don't speak when in a meeting. And as I'm thinking of that question, I can hear someone already saying it out for me. Right.
I'm actually a little more curious here. Would there be a scenario where no one wanted to come into the middle of the fishbowl to answer the questions?
I don't think so. I haven't seen, but yeah, there's always that exception. Yeah, but you'll find out the people, by the time they read the questions, they're like, oh, I know this has been happening to me. I better get into discussion with someone around it. Right. Yes.
As you mentioned earlier, I would like to string something else into the fishbowl, and when people give their questions, be able to maybe mix it up so it's anonymous.
Yeah.
So you don't know whose question you're reading.
Yes. So because this is kind of like a, like I said, an experiment is a huge group, right? And Liberating Structures is good for a large group as well. If people want to say, hey, I wrote that question, I can explain a bit more, fine. If they don't want to, you read it out, and you might find out that some people will be coming with different perspectives, which even makes it better.
All right, so I'll go back to something that a couple of people mentioned. So usually the more dominant people come over to, like not more dominant, more people who are more outspoken will come out, and the quieter people will sit on the side. And we said this is good for retrospectives. Well, on being a Scrum Master, it's always have to make sure everyone has a say in there. It's not always the same 3 people speaking to it. And that's kind of like enabling the people who are like more quiet, who are more shy, to not talk. So for me, I would say that won't be the proper way. Like, it won't be my solution for a retrospective.
Yes, you're right. They wouldn't speak, but remember, they've written something down, right? They don't have to share it vocally, but if you use 1, 2, 3, 4 all, they write it down, they share with someone because they're comfortable sharing with that one person, and then share with 2 other people, and then you can get to fishbowl, right? So their voice is already heard. They're just listening to those other perspectives. All right, so we're going to shuffle things around a little bit for the sake of time, but we're still going to get there. So what I wanted to do now is to appreciate someone that has helped you tonight. They've contributed to the experience you've gained, right? So find someone, share something positive about another person in this group based on their recent behavior and contribution. So 2 minutes. So find another partner. Find another partner, and this time around you say something. So you find another partner, and this time around you say something about someone that might not be here that has helped you personally and professionally. Okay. The next thing is to find another partner and share something. Find another partner and share something positive about that person, the person in front of you. Share something positive about them, to them. Right? All right, great. So we're going to break for 20 minutes. But before we do that, just a quick feedback. How was that for you? Okay, great. Any other thoughts?
Okay, I brought the microphone over now. Do you want to say it again?
So the moment you said to say something positive about the person in the team, so it becomes really difficult because you don't know much about that person, right? So it's like an anonymous territory for anyone.
Yeah, so yes, you're right. And this is not about knowing the person. It's just looking at them in that moment. And you're sharing something positive. Any other thoughts?
So I think this is a good activity after the previous one. The previous one is more about sharing the pain point, the challenge in form of questions. So there's a lot of intensive conversation going on. And this one, it kind of switched the mood for the people in the team. So bring us back to be positive, to sharing, to be aware of the fact that, oh, there's always something good, even about the person that we in front of us, we barely know about them, but it's more about like switching and switching to the positive state of mind, in my opinion.
Right.
Oh, that was my fault.
I like the positioning of in the fishbowl. There lots of people took risks, and then they got rewarded for it in this exercise because there was appreciation for those risks that they took. So we're rewarding the behavior of stretching a little bit, and I love that. I thought that was really positive here.
So where do you find yourself using this, liberating structure technique? At the end of a retro.
When everyone's all beaten down.
Tell me more.
No one's beaten down. I was just fooling everybody. But, you know, exactly what was said over, there was someone over there who said, like, we just had, like, kind of like discussions of problems. Things can feel a little intense, and this would be a nice way to just raise everybody's spirits before they head out of the room again, in case anybody was felt that it had been a very intense discussion.
I'm planning to use this last one with my wife tonight.
That's a good one.
Don't try this at home, kids.
So it could, yes, Julie.
I'm going to use this after our next health check.
Great. It could be anything, right? Feeling, you know, at the daily scrum or any meeting, just appreciate that person at that moment for what they've done or what they're doing. Because if you don't say it, they wouldn't know, right? All right. On that basis, we'll break for 20 minutes, and then
Maybe
we come
10.
back. 10 minutes. All right, 10 minutes.
times like these are here to show. You can do things for me and more. I got your back, just take things slow. Wanna take mine and get close. Understand, I know how things flow. Please just take my word as thinking no. We say I'm all our pride knows.
Salad every time. You don't make friends with flowers. You don't make friends with Have you ever had edible flowers? I have not.
Do you wanna wait more time? I wish you could be all mine. Wait till sunrise through the night. I can't do this for a lifetime. I'll bring everyone to show that I want your heart and more in my own life. I'll tell everyone there's no stopping us. Can I have you for the
Hi,
rest
folks.
of
We're ready to start the last bit of the evening. If you want to grab your seats. Hi, folks. We're about to start the last little bit of Liberating Structures. If you want to grab your seat. Thank you.
I know, I love the energy going on in the room. It's fantastic. So we're going to have more conversation. But I'm going to ask you to sit down first so I can let you have the invitation.
Here's the thing though, Andrew is good at winding me up and getting me going. Andrew makes a little comment. Oh, is that right? Oh, yeah.
So what we're going to do tonight, the last one, I know, Chris, you were expecting so what and what. We're not going to do that tonight, I'm afraid. But I can share with you at a later time. Just don't tell anyone yet. So what we're going to do next is strike our consultants. Okay, so you have to form trios. So a group of 3. Let's do that really quickly. Form a group of 3. Form a group of 3. A group of 3. So you have that? Identify a client. Who wants to be a client?
I'll be the client.
Have a client in the group of 3. Identify the client. We have a hands up client. Who's the client? You all have a client. Great. So the 2 other people in that trio are consultants. All right? Great. So what's going to happen is that your client is going to describe a problem they have, whether personal or professional. We're not going to limit it. Okay. The consultant, you don't ask any questions. Why the client has their 2 minutes, right? When they're done, you have 1 minute to ask clarifying questions. All right, 1 minute to ask clarifying questions. And then when that's done, the client is going to turn their back to the consultants. All right? So the consultants are going to try and solve that problem. All right, so let's take it one step at a time. Consultants, you're listening to your client for 2 minutes. All right, we get that. When they're done, you have a minute to ask clarifying questions. And then the client turns their back. For people that needs a real solution to that problem, if it's a real problem and you want a solution to it, you can write things down. So you cannot turn around and be asking them, hey, no. And don't nod your head. No reaction to that. No reaction to their conversation because they're just gossiping behind you, right? All right. And the consultant, you can say anything and everything you like. Any questions? Sorry? Which one? So you're looking at it from different perspectives. And you're just talking. Because you can't ask them. You're just talking as if you know what's happening and coming up with different possibilities that could be happening. And giving suggested solution based on your understanding of it. Right? And the client is writing the possible solutions down because you're just having a conversation. For you, you're having a conversation. To the client, you're solving the problem. Right? Any other question? All right. So, client, you ready? Share your problem with your consultants. 2 minutes. Consultants, you have 2 minutes for clarifying questions with your client. 2 minutes to clarify your questions. The next 4 minutes, so I'm guiding you through this one because the next round you can then follow, going through the instruction. So the next 4 minutes, you'll have your client turn their back to the consultants. And then the consultants are going to have a discussion around that, what they've just heard. Whatever perspective you want to share, can I have whatever perspective you want to share, you're talking as if the client is not there. All right? And clients, if you want to note things down, you can note it down. But do not give any suggestions that they are right or wrong. Okay? So 4 minutes. Sorry, the client has to turn their back. Are they turning their back? Oh, sorry. All right, so the clients, the client can turn around now. You got a minute to either thank your consultants or let them know what the follow-up action will be for you. All right. Thank you. Before we identify our next client, any question on Troika Consultants? Okay. So if there are no questions, why don't we identify the next client? And then you go through the steps. Yes, within the same team, you identify another client and you go through the steps. So this time around, you're keeping it. This time around, you're keeping an eye on the timing yourself. All right? Yeah. We'll talk about we'll debrief after the yes. All right? Minutes.
Well, that's what they decided to do.
Changes that happen, so
The challenge is to be able to help with that. So those are easy management at the same time
Is this it?
It'll be another. Okay. You should have, the client should have turned around by now and gave some actionable items they're going to do. Great. So really quickly, for the sake of time, what did Troika Consultants make possible for you? Just get one or two views. What did it make possible?
It allows you to hear the honest truth about your problem because your consultants are not looking at your face and they're just having a conversation around what your problem is and honestly discussing it. So without your affirmation or, you know, they just lay it all out. And then you get to hear firsthand what they think the problem is and what the best approach might be.
And what you think the best approach might be for you. Okay. So where do you see yourself using this?
Community of practice.
Community of practice. Okay.
Yeah, so you might have like something within companies you have community of practice, or even outside of it, you face challenges. You bring up to that community of practice and say, "Hey, I'm faced with this challenge right now. Has anybody else had the same thing?" And you'll have a group talking about it and coming up with solutions.
Perhaps if you're in a small company and you're in a tight-knit group and you're trying to solve a client's problem or multiple clients' problem, this is where this would come useful.
Okay.
This would be useful.
All right. And it's close-knitted as well, right? So that helps. So the last thing for today,
So I think again, as a Scrum Master or a coach, when you have one or two persons on your team who doesn't seem to get along, and you may, pitch one person who is on the team to serve like the business manager or a consultant, so that they can actually discuss and let you hear how your behaviors are, showing some anti-pattern on the team, so that you can actually hear firsthand how people perceive you, the way you interact with other people on the team. I think that might help too.
all right. So I'm going to share something with, thank you so much everyone for the contribution, by the way. So I'm going to share with you some first steps on how you can string your liberating structures. The first, yes. So basically, if I can get some from Trish really quickly. Yes, please. If you can take one and just share it, that would be great. Take one and pass it on to whoever you can pass it on to, and that would be great. So, thank you. So this page, if you've got one, you didn't get one. Okay. So if you got one, this page here, the one I'm looking at, it's kind of like your invitation or the problem you're trying to solve. And when you identify something that relates to you, bear in mind, this is just a guide for you, right? For you to help you string your first liberating structure. So say, for instance, you want to make the purpose of your work, working together clear. That's number 2. You then flip over to number 2 and do 9 whys, right? And you might think, okay, I need to get them to start talking first. You look at somewhere here, what is it that can help you to get people to start talking? And if you flip over, you will find something like 1, 2, 3, 4 would get them talking. Or maybe conversational cafe might help. So look at the front bit. What are you trying to solve? What are you trying to get your team to do? Or how do you want them to interact? What is the outcome you want to get from that conversation? Right? and then you can string it with the one at the back, right? And that will be your first stringing. So happy stringing. Any questions? Yes. So A, B, C, D, yes, thank you, Chris. A, B, C, D means that you can use any of those ones to arrive at the same conclusion. Yes. Any question on the handout I just gave out? Any question on this session as a whole? Look at this first page. You identify what you want the team to do. So for instance, just anything, discover and build on the root causes and successes, which is number 5, right? That's what you want your team to do. You then flip over and look at number 5, and it's appreciative interviews. Obviously, you go on the website or there's an app, and then you can look at what appreciative interview is. And then you use that. And hopefully, you're going to arrive at this outcome, right? Or another one is that you want people, number 19, practice deeper listening and empathy with colleagues. And you flip to number 19, and you look at heard, seen, respected. And then you go on the website or the book, which someone is going to go home with tonight. And you look at the book and you see heard, seen, respected, and you obviously, just like I've done, similarly to what I've done, you draw out the invitation and you pose it to your team or the group. Sorry, I don't know. Paul, is it too late?
I think there's one more person that wants to put their name in the draw.
Okay. So any questions on the handout?
Hey, Paul, can you bring a few more of those? If you have a few more people that want to. Yeah, why not?
Where did positive thoughts $210. I thought he was going to give it to them.
I said, well, you're going to do the closing, Tom. We'll give it to her. Is that all right?
Sure.
I'll bring it back. I'll get him to do it.
Yeah. He can do the whole closing if he wants. No, it's all right. It's all right.
All right. I am not looking. We're just going to pick one. Who's going to be the lucky winner?
No, wrong. Pick again.
No.
There you go.
Jean.
Jean.
Oh, Jenny. Jeane.
We're gonna need to see some ID.
Yes. How do you say your name? Jean. Jean. I thought I just said maybe it's Jean. All right. Congratulations. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you. It's been a lovely evening, and I hope you are taking one or two things away from here, and you're going to put it to use next time you go back to work. Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much, everybody, for coming out. I want to thank Kemmy.
Thank you, Kemmy. Paul, thank you
Small
so
token.
much.
Get too close to the speaker.
Is that me?
I want to thank, again, Wrangle for hosting us, as always, and providing beer and pizza. We seem to have cleaned out the beer, which is a good achievement for everybody here. We are going to be meeting at Kelly's Landing, which is at the corner of Front and York, as soon as we leave here, which hopefully will be fairly soon. Also want to thank Elaine for doing our AV stuff, and all the rest of the organizing committee, and all you folks for coming out, as always. Thank you so much. No, that's okay.
No tables.
Well, we'll sort it. Don't worry. If you do, if you have leftover Post-it notes and pens, gather them together so that we can collect them easily. And if there's any garbage, cans, bottles, and so forth, try and dispose of that, and we're good to go.